Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Dr. Afrinesh Amanat and today we will be discussing ischemic heart disease. Now, what is ischemic heart disease? It is basically generic designation for a group of pathophysiologically related syndromes which result from myocardial ischemia. Now, what is myocardial ischemia? It occurs due to imbalance between the supply, perfusion and demand of oxygenated blood. As you are already familiar that ischemia causes insufficiency of oxygen as well as it hinders the availability of nutrients and removal of metabolites to the tissue. The pathophysiology involves imbalance between the supply and demand of oxygenated blood. Increased demand occurs in increased heart rate, myocardial contractility, left ventricular hypertrophy, etc. Ischemic heart disease usually presents as myocardial infarction. Infarction means death of the heart muscle. Angina pectoris. Ischemia is of insufficient severity to cause infarction, but it may be a harbinger of myocardial infarction. Chronic ischemic heart disease with heart failure and sudden cardiac death. These four are the spectrum of disorders of ischemic heart disease. Ischemic heart disease involves angina pectoris, acute MI, chronic ischemic heart disease with heart failure and sudden cardiac death. Now we will discuss the etiology. Etiology is obstruction to the blood flow. The cause is atherosclerosis. The ischemia results from reduced blood flow due to atherosclerotic lesion in the epicardial coronary arteries. Therefore, it is also referred to as coronary artery disease. Risk factors for atherosclerosis are divided into non-modifiable and modifiable factors. Non-modifiable factors are male gender, age, and genetic factors, while the modifiable ones are hypertension, diabetes, smoking, lifestyle, and diet. How does ischemic heart disease presents clinically? Angina pectoris is in common terms known as chest pain. Ischemia induces pain, but it is insufficient to cause myocyte death. Angina pectoris can be stable or unstable. Stable angina occurs at certain level of exertion and can be caused by vessel spasm. This particular one, in which the etiology is coronary artery spasm, is known as Prince-Metal angina. And unstable angina occurs with progressively less exertion or even at rest. Myocardial infarction occurs when the severity or duration of ischemia is sufficient to cause cardiomyocyte death. Chronic ischemic heart disease with congestive heart failure, it induces mechanical pump failure after acute MI or secondary to accumulated small ischemic insults. Sudden cardiac death. It can result either from MI or it can result from lethal arrhythmias without myocyte necrosis. The term acute coronary syndrome. You can be asked about this term in multiple choice question. It is applied to any of the three manifestations of ischemic heart disease, either unstable angina, MI, and sudden cardiac death. Now, the chest pain. After a patient presents with chest pain, you evaluate the patient by performing ECG. If there is ST elevation, then there is ST elevation MI, and if it is not elevated, then you perform the cardiac biomarkers. If the cardiac biomarkers come normal, then the patient is suffering from unstable angina, and if the cardiac biomarkers are high and there is non-ST elevation, then it is called non-ST elevation MI. Coming to the pathogenesis of ischemic heart disease, it is the consequence of inadequate coronary perfusion relative to myocardial demand, and The cause is usually the pre-existing or fixed atherosclerotic occlusion of coronary arteries and new superimposed thrombosis and or vasospasm. Stable angina. Lesions that occlude more than 70% of the vessel lumen, they result in critical stenosis and they produce the symptoms in the setting of increased demand. Certain level of exertion predictably causes chest pain and the patient is said to have stable angina. Unstable angina occurs when the fixed stenosis that occludes 90% or more of the vascular lumen can lead to inadequate coronary blood flow with symptoms even at rest. And this is known as unstable angina. Now, what are the factors that contribute to the development and what are the consequences of coronary atherosclerosis? Inflammation plays a very essential role. It begins with the interaction of endothelial cells and circulating leukocytes, resulting in T cell and macrophage recruitment and activation. There is interaction between the endothelium and the blood circulating within the lumen of the vessel. What is the result? The result is recruitment of T cell and macrophages. These cells drive smooth muscle accumulation. Here you can see there is accumulation of smooth muscle cells. Macrophages are transformed into foam cells and lipids as well as calcium and cellular debris also accumulate. The cells drive smooth muscle accumulation and proliferation with associated matrix production. Now, what can happen in this context? Either there is superimposition on the atherometer score of lipid, cholesterol, calcification and necrotic debris, or destabilization can occur. Destabilization can occur through macrophage metalloproteinase secretion. Thrombosis associated with eroded or ruptured plaque triggers acute coronary syndrome. Partial vascular occlusion by newly formed thrombus on disrupted plaque can wax and wane with time and it leads to unstable angina or sudden death. While the subendocardial infarct, how this infarct is produced? Partial luminal occlusion by the thrombus compromises the blood flow sufficiently to cause infarction of the innermost zone of myocardium, producing subendocardial infarct. When a thrombus is formed, it can organize, produce potent activators of smooth muscle proliferation and it can contribute to growth of atherosclerotic lesion. As you are familiar, the mural thrombi can embolize and in most serious cases completely obstructive thrombus over disrupted plaque can cause massive MI. The third factor is vasoconstriction, which compromises the lumen diameter, and the vessel spasm causes plaque disruption. Vasoconstriction can be stimulated by circulating adrenergic agonists, locally released platelet contents, and imbalance between the endothelial cell relaxing factors and contracting factors, that is nitric oxide and endothelin, and mediators released from the perivascular inflammatory cells. Acute plaque change. This topic is important because you may get a short essay question on this topic. Now, the onset of myocardial ischemia depends on the extent and severity of the atherosclerotic disease and dynamic changes in coronary plaque morphology. These changes are important. We will discuss in detail. In most patients, unstable angina, infarction and sudden cardiac death occur because of abrupt plaque change followed by thrombosis. Therefore, the term acute coronary syndrome is used. The initiating event is typically sudden disruption. Plaque disruption is important. It can range from erosion to rupture of partially occlusive plaque. What changes can occur in the plaque? Either it can rupture or undergo fissuring or ulceration. The result is that the thrombogenic constituents which are hiding underneath are exposed, and even the subendothelial basement membrane can be exposed, and this leads to rapid thrombosis. The second change that can occur is hemorrhage in the core of the plaque, and its consequences that it expands the plaque volume and exacerbates the degree of occlusion. Now, how this acute plaque change can occur? Acute coronary syndrome occurs when the plaque undergoes rupture, fissuring, or ulceration, and there is exposure of thrombogenic plaque constituents or the underlying subendothelial basement membrane. Or the second change that can occur is hemorrhage in the plaque, expansion of the volume, and worsening of luminal occlusion. These are all plaque changes which can occur. Now, what are vulnerable plaques? The plaques that contain large atheromatous cores or have thin overlying fibrous caps are more likely to rupture, and they are called vulnerable plaques. Atherosclerotic lesions with paucity of the smooth muscle cells or large number of inflammatory cells are vulnerable to rupture. The influences which are extrinsic to the plaque are also important. These include adrenergic stimulation, which induces physical stress on the plaque by causing hypertension or local vasospasm. Now, this is a very beautiful diagram. This is the cross section of the normal artery shown here. When the artery develops atherosclerosis, what will happen? Fixed coronary obstruction, and it induces typical angina. A particular amount of stress induces chest pain, and this is known as typical angina. If the plaque change occurs and there is aggregation of platelets on the thrombus, this is known as plaque disruption, and either the thrombus occludes the whole lumen of the vessel and produces occlusive thrombus and acute transmural myocardial infarction, or there is mural thrombus with variable obstruction, or it can shed emboli, and this produces unstable angina or acute subendocardial myocardial infarction or sudden death. When there is severe fixed coronary obstruction, the result is chronic ischemic heart disease. Angina pectoris or chest pain. It is intermittent chest pain caused by transient reversible myocardial ischemia. The pain occurs because of ischemia-induced release of adenosine, bradykinin, and other molecules that stimulate autonomic nerves. This is important because you may be asked about this in multiple choice question. There are three variants of angina: stable angina, unstable angina, and Prinzmetal angina. I have already told you about the typical or stable angina. It is predictable episodic chest pain associated with particular level of exertion or some other increased demand. The patient describes the pain as crushing or squeezing substernal sensation that radiates to the left arm or even the jaw, referred pain. And the pain is relieved by rest or by drugs such as nitroglycerine. Prinzmetal or variant angina. Please remember, it occurs at rest and is caused by coronary artery spasm. It can occur on or near existing atherosclerotic plaque, and or even it can occur in completely normal vessel. And it also responds promptly to vasodilators like nitroglycerine and calcium channel blockers. Unstable angina, the other name is crescendo angina, and it is characterized by increasingly frequent pain precipitated by progressively less exertion or even occurring at rest. And it is associated with plaque disruption and superimposed thrombosis, distal embolization of the thrombus and or vasospasm, and it can be a harbinger of myocardial infarction. This is repetition of the slides which I have already told you. This is the normal vessel. Stable angina is produced by fixed occlusion. Unstable whenever there is plaque change, and variant angina occurs due to the coronary artery spasm. This is again the similar diagram. We will study about myocardial infarction in the next lecture. Thank you, class.